The modern 5G telecommunications footprint is vast, spanning hundreds of thousands of cell towers, millions of localized edge servers, and billions of connected endpoints. In 4G networks, security was geographic. Traffic flowed to a centralized data center protected by a distinct firewall. But 5G dismantles this. Compute power pushes outward, and that single wall fractures into thousands of software-defined entry points across the network. When you apply a perimeter defense to a borderless network, the math breaks down. Current rule-based intrusion detection systems rely on known signatures, meaning they miss between 60 and 70% of active threats in these new environments. Worse, when a legacy system does manage to flag an anomaly, manual triage by a human analyst takes 30 to 60 minutes. At 5G speeds, a 30-minute response is an eternity, granting attackers a massive window for data exfiltration. To secure this infrastructure, telecom operators are moving away from the concept of a trusted perimeter. The solution is an AI-driven zero-trust architecture. This approach targets an 85% threat detection rate and uses autonomous protocols to contain confirmed breaches in under 5 minutes. Establishing this AI-driven zero-trust model aligns defensive capacity with the actual scale and speed of a 5G core. The vulnerability of 5G begins with physical placement. Instead of keeping processors locked in a secure facility, operators are mounting compute power directly on utility poles and city streets. These distributed servers form mobile edge computing, or MEC nodes. Because they process data locally to reduce latency, a compromised node allows an attacker to intercept or modify traffic before it reaches the encryption of the network backhaul. Within that same hardware, the network is divided into isolated logical channels called network slicing. If the logical isolation fails, an attacker who compromises a low-security slice can pivot laterally, bleeding over into a high-security slice sharing the exact same physical server. Beyond the network hardware, operators must also secure the endpoints. 5G is designed to connect billions of small, resource-constrained IoT sensors. Many of these devices lack the processing power to support modern cryptographic protocols. This vulnerability creates a massive recruitment pool for attackers to launch devastating terabit-per-second volumetric denial-of-service attacks. With attack surfaces spanning from street-level antennas to billions of sensors, no physical appliance can watch every door. The defense mechanism must live inside the data flow itself. A live 5G network constantly generates millions of telemetry records, API calls, and flow logs every single second. Human engineers cannot write static rules fast enough to evaluate this volume. More importantly, static rules only scan for the signatures of past attacks, leaving the network blind to novel, zero-day exploits. This visualization contrasts a rigid, rule-based bounding box against a dynamic clustering algorithm. To catch unseen threats, operators deploy unsupervised machine learning models. Instead of looking for a specific malware signature, these algorithms analyze normal traffic to establish a behavioral baseline for every device. Any statistical outlier triggers an immediate alert. But running heavy analytics on millions of packets requires time. If a street-level node has to send every suspicious log back to a central data center for analysis, the attacker will exploit the protocol before the security system can issue a block command. The solution is a hybrid processing architecture. Operators deploy lightweight machine learning inference models directly onto the edge nodes, analyzing local traffic patterns instantly without the bottleneck of backhaul latency. Simultaneously, the aggregated telemetry flows upward to a centralized analytics layer. Here, heavy compute power handles cross-domain threat correlation and continuous model retraining, pushing updated defenses back out to the edge. Detection accuracy is only valuable when paired with speed. This dual-layered approach ensures that threats are neutralized the millisecond they appear. Catching anomalies is the first step. The second is assuming the network is already compromised. This is the foundation of zero-trust architecture. Never trust, always verify. Internal network position grants exactly 0 implicit access privileges.
We can see how this works deep inside the 5G core, where cloud-native microservices constantly request data from one another. Before a single packet of data moves, both services must authenticate each other using mutual TLS, or MTLS. This requires an exchange of explicit cryptographic certificates to prove their identity. By enforcing these checks at the workload level, the network achieves microsegmentation. If an attacker steals a set of credentials, their access is contained to one highly isolated zone, severely limiting the blast radius of the attack. And that authorization is never permanent. Once connected, the device is continuously monitored for its patch status and any signs of malware. If an authenticated device suddenly exhibits anomalous behavior or fails a compliance check, the Zero Trust system dynamically revokes its access mid-session. By assuming breach as a starting condition, Zero Trust models systematically restrict lateral movement, reducing the overall impact of a network compromise by 50 to 60%. These internal defenses are heavily tested by external threat actors who are weaponizing generative AI to execute sophisticated frauds against subscribers. Deepfake voice synthesis allows attackers to generate audio that convincingly impersonates banking officials or operator support staff. These models continually adapt to bypass traditional security gates and trick subscribers into handing over account credentials. This visualization shows how AI defense models analyze incoming audio. By scanning frequency patterns and microprosodic features, the system identifies synthetic acoustic artifacts, distinguishing deepfake audio from a genuine human voice with 90% accuracy. But accurately flagging a deepfake or a network intrusion only solves half the problem. If a human security team takes an hour to manually review the alert and execute a block, the fraud has already occurred. This timeline compares traditional and modern containment speeds. Autonomous threat response playbooks completely eliminate the detection-response gap, reducing the containment timeline from a 60-minute human process down to under 5 minutes. The playbook executes a tiered logic. Step 1 immediately isolates the compromised network segment to stop the spread. Step 2 preserves the system logs and packet data for forensic analysis. Step 3 triggers automated API notifications to regulatory bodies. Finally, Step 4 escalates the incident to human analysts, providing them with enriched context so they can focus on high-impact decision-making. By executing containment procedures autonomously, the network strips attackers of the dwell time they need to extract value, neutralizing the financial viability of the attack. NAI security is now a strict compliance mandate driven by national regulatory bodies. In India, the Department of Telecommunications mandates specific AI-driven defense requirements, while CERT-In enforces strict automated reporting service-level agreements. These regulations are designed to protect a massive attack surface. Indian operators serve over 1 billion subscribers, making them prime targets for identity theft, charging manipulation, and subscription fraud. While the compliance pressure is immediate, the financial upside is just as significant. Telecom fraud costs the global industry roughly $50 billion annually. This dashboard projects the 5-year business case for a large operator. An initial platform investment of $85 million targets a $270 million reduction in fraud losses. Factoring operational savings, the cumulative net benefit reaches $305 million, yielding a $260. While capital expenditure is front-loaded in year 1, the financial returns accelerate rapidly in year 2 as the machine learning models mature and autonomous coverage expands. The expansion of 5G infrastructure brings immense computational power, but it also multiplies the available vectors for exploitation. A fully integrated, AI-driven zero-trust architecture is the only mechanism fast enough to secure it. Operators who rely on static, perimeter-based defenses will inevitably be overwhelmed by automated adversaries, facing compounding breaches that traditional firewalls can no longer even see.